You know, they say that any great warrior is also a scholar, a poet, and an artist. Well, today's guest fits this phrase to a T. But of course, before we get into all this, I got a handful of things to throw at you. First and foremost, what you're about to listen to is one of two different types of format I have within the show. It's a long version. I have a guest or two on. Today is just one. And we have a conversation about, well, a lot of things, as you're going to hear. And on opposite weeks, I have what is called B-Raw Bites. It's just me, this microphone, whatever's in my heart and on my mind, and I think that's shit that you need to hear. Everything you need to know about the show is over at the website, brawpodcast.com. Key in B-Raw Podcast just about everywhere, and you'll find me. And you can sign up also for the newsletter if you want a little sunshine in your inbox once a month. You know, and if you like what you hear, you know, you learned something, made you laugh, made you smile, got you angry, got you thinking, whatever it may be, would love for you to pass this along to, 5 to 12 people. That'd be great. And anywhere you listen, if you could throw up a review and a rating, that would be cool as well. One other thing that I've been doing lately, I love a good quote, and they've been piling up here on my desk, and I have no idea what to do with them, so I just throw them in the front of each episode. And I kind of dig through them and see if I got one that fits kind of what's going on in the episode. And today is by my man, Mark Twain. I love his stuff. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. All right, here we go. Rounding third base to bring this all home. And can't go any further without giving a shout out to the companies that help keep this show rolling. And I hope you jump down in the show notes and check these guys out. One is Live Resheet. These guys make high quality CBD product. Use a code word TABLE50. You're looking at 50% off your entire order. And I got Craig and the crew over at High Speed Daddy. They make tactical baby gear for today's parenting. And both these companies I've been using for many years and on the regular. And I can't say enough good about them both. So when you get over there, give them hell for me too, please. I'm going to keep Sarah's introduction short, and we're going to get right into this. She is inspirational to a lot of people, unapologetic, gives back, and is doing what sets her soul on fire. And she's got one hell of a story about being naked in Montana for 3 days in the winter. But you know what? Like normal, I'm going to let her tell you all about it. Let's get to it. So we'll just, so when was that? 2000 what?
2018, wintertime in Montana was my Naked and Afraid episode.
Wait a minute. So you were naked in Montana in the winter?
Yes, I was. You're going to hear some dogs barking. Yeah, it was 0 degrees at night, 30 degrees during the day. I froze my ass off. It sucked.
How the hell?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Now, wait a minute. Now how did the hell did you end up Naked and Afraid in Montana in the winter?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. So Naked and Afraid, I got onto Naked and Afraid. I was watching it one night, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if they're casting. So I sent an email, and I got a phone call like 2 weeks later, and they're like, you're on. I was like, okay, let's do this. And I was originally supposed to go to Siberia. Was my original location in the wintertime, Siberia, and the travel logistics, they just weren't working. Like, they even made me renew my passport. It was just this huge ordeal. It's going to be like 4 days travel to the location, commercial helicopter, Cessna, snowmobile, and they just couldn't make it work. So they canceled it, and they took the next best thing, which was Montana.
Holy. Now, see, I've watched it. I haven't watched it that much. But every time I watch it, obviously it's in somewhere warm. I've never seen one. I didn't even think they would do it in somewhere cold.
Yeah. I was hoping for somewhere warm, but I grew up in Hawaii, so I think they did that on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Kind of do the 180. Yeah, do the 180 on you. Mm-hmm. Take this island girl and stick her in the mountains with no clothes on in the winter.
That's exactly what happened.
How long did you last?
So I was actually taken out on the morning of day 3 because I had hyperthermia and frostbite in my feet.
Geez, I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
So, and how long did the longest person last?
So my partner, his name is Dave. He's He's awesome. He's a total badass. We're still friends. He's like ex special forces. He was there till day 11 and then they took him out because his kidneys started to fail. He didn't have enough body fat to break down. His body started breaking down too much proteins from the muscles, and his kidney just went.
Yep. Have you ever watched Alone?
I have. I actually applied for that show as well, and
Gee,
I got an interview, but that's it.
You got a what? Phone interview?
Yeah. Well, it was like a video interview, but that was it.
As far as you made it, huh?
Yep.
That would be cool, right?
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think I would like that one a lot more because there's clothes.
Right. I mean, just it boggles my mind that what are you thinking of putting somebody naked in the winter? But that's why I say you're a yes to life. When I was trolling, so I found you on YouTube. I like watching the shorts, and
Yeah.
I was like, you popped up, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I like just your style and your command presence, as I call it, and dug into you a little bit, and I threw out an invite. So thanks again for coming on. And then yesterday, I was doing some research, and then that's when I found out you were on Naked and Afraid. I didn't even know it until yesterday, and we've had this scheduled for a while. But how's the dental work doing? All right?
Oh my gosh, that was awful. I hate the dentist. The military ruined the dentist for me. So every time I go, they have to put me under, and they had to fix a root canal. And there was an infection that had gone down into my jawbone, and so they had to knock me out for it. But I had no idea that dentists use fentanyl to knock you out, and that messed me up for like 2 weeks. I didn't get out of bed for like, I think the first 3 days afterwards. It was bad.
So with everything out there available, why would they use fentanyl?
That's a good question. I actually ended up going to the emergency room because I was having chest pains, and they did some blood work, and the fentanyl was still in my system, and it was really bad. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, and it's funny because when my fiance picked me up from the dentist office, they were almost bragging to him about how much they had given me. They're like, yeah, she kept waking up, so we had to give her more. And so, yeah, they just gave me way too much.
Jesus. Now we're talking about the same fentanyl that they cut Coke with and send it over to the United States. And that's, the whole pandemic or the whole academic or with that. Wow. Now that's something I didn't know. I mean, again, with everything available, they use fentanyl. Jeez. Yep. Wow. I have on my one side here, I have a 6-tooth bridge because I was in the security business a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
And somebody clocked me in the jaw right here with a stool. And just like a movie, all my teeth went flying out, blood and everything. And
I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
Yeah, that was not cool. Like I went to the dentist, and my new dentist a couple years ago, and they take x-rays and they're like, what's the matter with your teeth? I go, yeah. And all my teeth, I go, well, this happened. This happened. They're like, okay, enough. We don't want to hear about it. So Stop. Yeah. I am no stranger to dental work and the nightmare that is. I was so afraid of the dentist for so long that when I went back, like tartar and everything was so bad, they could only do a quarter of my mouth at a time. And I'd have to come back 2 weeks later, a quarter of it, 2 weeks later, a quarter of it.
That's usually how it is for me. And I won't let them put needles near my face. So it's just the numbing cream whenever they do any dental work for me, if I'm awake for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the dentist. But now I get my teeth cleaned like every 2 or 3 months because it's so when it's at that point, I'm in and out in like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. I'll keep up on it. But now you said you were on another reality show. Which one was that?
I was on the American Air Gunner Challenge last year.
What was that?
The American Air Gunner Challenge. It airs on the
Oh,
Outdoor Channel.
and what does that consist of? So
Uh,
for people that don't know, give it a good description for people that don't know what that is.
so air guns are not airsoft guns. They're completely different. They're precision firearms, essentially, without being actual firearms that use lead projectiles powered by air, compressed air. And the American Air Gunner Challenge was 8 people against each other, and the winner got $20,000.
So did you get a check?
No, I came in 3rd place
Oh, out of how many? 8?
out of 8 people. Yeah, I was last girl, so I'll take that win.
Damn, nice job though. So is that Target?
So it was a little bit of everything. They had targets flying on drones. They had we were shooting aspirin off the top of eggs at 75 yards. It's pretty insane what you could do. They even have a 50 cal air gun. You can hunt Cape buffalo with them.
Jeez. So with the egg and the aspirin, what caliber are you looking at? What caliber were you using?
Gosh, I have no idea. It's like that big.
Yeah. Damn.
I'm not an air gun person, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Damn. And where was that? Was that here in the United States?
Yeah, we filmed over in Arkansas. Can't remember the name of the town, but the people were great.
So how'd you get into all the shooting and everything? I know you're a veteran. When did you go in?
I joined the Army back in 2009, and I got out late 2014. And I was stationed in Fort Carson the whole time.
I spent 20 years in Colorado Springs.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think I spent a total of like 13 years there. It was fun. It was great. I love that place. But the military was the first time I ever saw a gun in person, touched a gun, shotgun. And then I had an incident in the military where I had a stalker, and that kind of got me interested in guns. And then me and my fiance connected, and he's a competitor. He's a 3-gunner, and he kind of got me into that, and it just kind of exploded from there.
Super cool. And you guys met in the military?
Yep, we met in 2011, I think.
At Fort Carson?
Yeah, Fort Carson, 4th Eddy. Yep.
All right, so I know Colorado Springs like the back of my hand. Okay. So where did you hang out? Where'd you go partying in Colorado Springs?
Oh gosh, well, the Whiskey Baron was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
Cowboys down off Tejon Street. You know, Tejon Street was fun, especially on paydays. But I don't know. We mostly did like the house party thing. It was cheaper. Okay. You can't go to Tejon Street and spend less than like $50 on 2 drinks. So.
Oh, geez, yeah, ain't that the truth? No, you weren't around when Cowboys was over on Academy, were you? You always knew Cowboys only right there in Tejon Street?
Yeah, I think I only ever saw it over on Tejon Street. The only one I know off of Academy, North Academy, would be Whiskey Baron.
No, that was what, Vickers and Academy?
I think so. It's up off of the highway. Yeah, one of the last exits before the Air Force Academy.
Yeah. Now, you never went to Copperhead Road?
Oh, I did. That's another one. Yeah, Copperhead Road's dangerous, though. That place is wild.
I was the front door man there for many, many years.
Oh, were you? Oh my gosh, that place. Yeah, it's fun, but it's wild.
Yeah, it was when it first opened, man. It was a fucking jamming joint, dude. Yeah, 2.5 hour wait to get in, packed every night. It was, and there wasn't a lot at issue. And then it just got, I left and I got told stories that it just got rough. So
yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, they got all you can drink now there. You pay for a wristband. It's like $20. All you can drink all night. So of course, military members are going wild.
Yeah, sure. It's all rock.
People are doing drugs. It's pretty bad now.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I used to. I lived right, B Street then, right?
Yep, I know B Street.
Going into Fort Carson. Mm-hmm. So as you're going into Fort Carson on the right hand side, there were some fourplexes on the dead end street. I lived in one of them the whole time I was in Colorado Springs.
Okay, so that wasn't too far from where I lived. There was like a new housing addition. If you're coming out of the gate on B Street, it was kind of up and to the right, up on a hill.
Yep.
Fancy house. That's where I was.
And as you come out of the gate, there's the flat tops.
Yep.
We call that the ghetto, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we used to sit on my back porch and hit golf balls over the railroad tracks, over B Street into the ghetto.
So you live, okay. That's horrible. So B Street, did you ever go to one of those BYOB strip clubs? You had to have.
Right on B Street?
Yeah, right on B Street.
Oh, absolutely. Deja vu. I worked there. I was a doorman for there for a while.
You're doorman for all the best places. All the
actually, you know why I did the doorman at those places? Because they paid really well.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. No, a buddy of mine was management at Deja Vu for quite a while, and he was having a little trouble. So he's like, "Hey, man, can you come down and help out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, dude, I'll come down." And it was short term. It was probably 6-8 months, but that is. So have you been there?
I have driven by.
The thing is,
the tailor that was right next door in the little strip mall there to get my classes done.
Oh, okay. And I think there was like a little Army Navy store right there. Guys selling
surplus store. Yeah.
Surplus store. Yeah. And then the 7-Eleven, right? Can't beat the 7-Eleven.
Yep.
And then what was wasn't that the only one on B Street? There wasn't enough.
I think that there was only the one from what I can remember. Deja vu. Yeah.
Deja vu. Yeah. Man, that is so depressing. It's so depressing. Now, I saw ladies come in there and work hard, and they're like, "I'm out of here in 4 months." In 4 months, they were gone. And then I saw ladies take that black hole and just rabbit hole and go down it and keep chasing it. And I was like, that is super depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's gonna be rough.
So did you go up in the mountains, up in over the Broadmoor? God, what's that road up there? The dirt road going Gold Camp Road.
Gold Camp Road. I've been up Gold Camp Road a couple times. Didn't really make it a habit. There was a couple of people up there staging like breakdowns to rob people. But as far as like Manitou Springs incline, I have lost track of how many times I've done that because we did it with PT in the Army. And then Pikes Peak, I climbed Pikes Peak twice.
Nice. I used to love the Manitou incline year round. Didn't matter the weather. I was there twice a week.
It was fun. I always tried to make it a thing on New Year's Day. That was kind of my little tradition.
Yep. And then Gold Camp Road, me and my buddies would go up there jeeping all the time. Mm-hmm. And I had a 12 gauge pistol grip riot shotgun right in the side of my Jeep.
Uh-huh.
And people are like, because that's for the animals. I go, yeah, the 2-legged animals.
Exactly.
It's so crazy. You get up in some of those roads and they're in a Subaru and they're like, oh, we're broken down. Oh, that's too bad. And I would just keep right on fucking driving. I'm like, nope, I'm not getting involved in any of that.
If they got a Subaru, they probably got AAA, so they're good. Yeah,
right. But yeah, no, that's really fun that you were in Colorado Springs for so long. Did you spend any time up the Air Force Academy?
No, I drove past it all the time, but I never went there.
Got up there?
No.
I worked for Coca-Cola out there, and that was one of my biggest accounts. I spent a lot of time up there in the academy. The mess hall, the cafeteria and stuff, that's quite an operation, mm-hmm. To feed all those guys and ladies and stuff. But yeah. And then Peterson.
Peterson Space. Yeah. Well, I used to go there to grocery shop because it was nicer than our commissary because Fort Carson was kind of old and beat down. But yeah, I used to go there a couple times a month.
And then where I got when I started, I got out there in 96. Mm-hmm. And I started bouncing at this place called Country USA. This old, Yeah, old bar, total blue collar. By 4 o'clock, all the railroad guys and construction guys are in there. By 6:30, everybody's piled in the parking lot going skulls to knuckles. By 7:30, we're all back in the bar and drinking and having a good time. That's where I cut my teeth in the security business. But I met a guy that he was in the Air Force, and he took me up to NORAD, and we used to work out up there, and that's quite a thing to go up there. You ever been up that road and to the gate?
I drove up to the gate once and turned around before I got up to the gate. It's a little intimidating, but I know they won't let me in. Right. But yes, I have been up the road.
Yeah. That's then you hear all the stories, so you're looking around the whole time, and you're like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
But no, that's really neat that you were out there. Did you enjoy your time in the military?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so it was a bed and it was a paycheck. Growing up, I kind of grew up like the crunchy hippie lifestyle. War's bad, guns are bad, And then when I was 17, I graduated high school. I was homeless because both my parents were in prison, and I had literally nowhere to go. I had finished couch surfing, and I was walking past the recruiter's office, and there was an opportunity, and I took it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in that situation, what I just heard you talk about, it's a nice road or it's an opportunity, a nice road to go down to give you that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I live in Indiana now, of all the states and places I've been to. And I own a house. I have a car, got 2 dogs and a family. So I'm happy.
Yeah. The American thing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just bought a house, and I literally had to flip it before we moved in, and that was a lot of work. But yeah, it's just nice when you pull in the driveway and you're like, "This is mine."
It is nice. It's nice to be able to go outside and shoot whenever I want. So that's great.
Oh, you have the see where I'm out in the country in Jersey, but if I start shooting a gun, they'll show up really fast.
Yeah, my closest neighbors are like a quarter mile away, and we're out in Amish country, so nobody cares.
No. And you got it all set up on your property, you got to where you can shoot?
Yep. I think we're sitting on just shy of 4 acres, and we can, as far as shooting goes, I think we could probably make it out to like 150 yards, but that's about it. Most of the stuff we do on our property is close range stuff. Like today, I was just patterning my shotgun because I got a hunting trip next week.
Oh, what are you going to hunt?
Turkey in Illinois.
Oh, very nice. That
Yep.
You got to be completely covered. They'll recognize you, right?
Turkeys have the most unreal eyesight. Like, I think it's like on flat ground, they could see you up to 2 miles away or something stupid, ridiculous like that. They can't hear for shit, but they'll see you coming no matter what.
What about smell?
No, they don't.
Nothing,
the smell, the hearing, not so much. The sight, they get super spooked. So
that's why all covered up, right? Do you put net over your eyes as well?
I usually have like a net gator, right, with a beanie, and then I might do like the paint on the eyes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then what do you use to hunt them?
I have a 12 gauge Beretta A400 that I'll be using this year. I used a Benelli M2 last year, but something happened during the trip. I fell with the shotgun, and I came up on a turkey, and I pulled the trigger, and it just went click. So I'm not taking that one this year.
That's no fun. You finally get up on one and you hear it. No, that's no good.
Oh my gosh. It was like after like 2 days of waking up at 3:30 in the morning, walking like 10 miles in the rain. And I was so pissed. It was awful. Yeah. I hate it.
Now, the thing is with turkeys, don't you sit and wait for them? Because you can't walk around much, right?
So it kind of depends. I was working with a hunting guide, 2 hunting guides last year, a couple of older guys, and their approach to turkey hunting was more go to the area where the turkeys are or where they have been and call them in. So there was lots of walking back and forth, and this year I think it might be more sitting, waiting, blind or something.
At least with clothes on this time, right?
At least with clothes on. Yeah.
What's your favorite animal to hunt?
Deer. Well, I don't know. So turkeys are fun because they get super fucking excited in the springtime. Like when I pulled up on the turkey and my shotgun went click, I think we called in, it was 3 toms that we called in from about a half mile away. And we were sitting up on a ridge and this super steep hill down. And then there was a river and this huge clearing and it was pouring rain. And they were out in the clearing and we were calling them. And then after about 5 minutes, they started calling back and forth and they just hauled ass. They ran through the river. They ran up the hill. They were just so excited. So that was pretty cool.
That would be amazing. They're thinking they're going to get a little something, right?
Yeah, they get very excited. The deer is really exciting for a little bit of a different reason, I guess. When they're in the rut, that's pretty exciting early in the morning and they all start coming out and they start getting angry at each other. That's pretty fun.
Now you're talking straight up whitetail at this point?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I grew up shooting at.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd set up a salt lick and then drive the 4-wheeler over. And so it really wasn't hunting. It was more to put food in the freezer at that point.
That would be slightly illegal in Indiana.
Yeah. Bow hunt too?
Yeah. This past winter, I got my deer with my bow, actually. It was the first time getting a deer with a bow, and my mom was with me. And it was her first time ever on a hunting trip. And I stuck it was actually a button buck, but at that point, we really hadn't seen anything all season. So it was to put food in the freezer.
Yeah,
and I saw a buck, and in Indiana, that counts as a doe. So I took the shot. But I got him.
Oh, so how old does it, or young does it have to be counted as a doe then?
So the button bucks, I think it's the antlers, anything under 3 inches is considered a doe.
Huh. I didn't know that. Now, oh, okay. Did you drop them or did you have to track them down?
No, we had to track them down. So we waited about, I would say about 45 minutes and then it started to rain. So we got out and started tracking and there was blood and we found half of the arrow. He like rubbed up against a tree to dig out the arrow. It didn't go through and through. And then we lost the blood trail. It just completely stopped. We don't know where the hell it went. And I think it took us about 3 hours to find him in the dark, in the woods, in the rain.
Just started circling, right? Until you found him?
Yep. But we're pretty lucky because John, my fiance, his family has a big farm out here in Indiana. We have about 500 acres to hunt on. So that was pretty nice. But yeah start zigzagging through the woods, try to find something.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to just, okay, I lost it here and just start circling, make the circle bigger and bigger and bigger until you find something. But so what do you like better, rifle or bow hunting?
Rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bow hunting's hard. A lot of people don't realize just how hard it is. I mean, it's really, really hard. I mean, you gotta have the muscles. You have to have your bow set to the legal poundage at least in order to kill the animal, and you get so shaky. You get your adrenaline's pumping, and you're all over the place. You have a little bit more forgiveness with the rifle, I think.
Yep. I lost you just for a second, but so would you ever do like a big safari hunt?
It depends on the animal, to be honest. I really do enjoy hunting, but there are things that I wouldn't hunt just purely because I like them. Like big cats, right. Hunting big cats. I couldn't do that. I have cats. I would really love to go do a red stag hunt over in New Zealand.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, just the scenery over there is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Get out in the wild over there. Holy cow. No, I don't see you doing one of those where they have a fence and they have a name for everybody and, hey, this is this buck and we'll call him over and you can shoot him. You just don't strike me as one of those.
No, if it's got a name, I'm probably not going to shoot it. Like, hey, this is Tom. I'm like, all right, Tom can live today. No,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a safari game preserve down in Texas. It's actually near Uvalde, and we go down there almost every year. We didn't go this past year, but it's a place called Drive Tanks, and they also are connected to Ox Safari, and it's like 80,000 acres. And there's giraffes running around, zebra, ostrich, and people go there to hunt all the time. But you can hunt big game African animals in the U.S.
Yeah, but again, though, it's only so big, right? So the fence, as soon as it gets to the fence, it's got to turn around.
Yeah, you get there and the fence opens, and you drive in, and they can't get out. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
shooting in a barrel.
yeah. Now, would you go to Africa and hunt, you know, big game, that type of thing?
Yeah, like a Cape buffalo or something. I would definitely go do that type of hunt. Zebra, antelope. I think that would be pretty cool.
Just being on a safari, I see videos and pictures of people on a safari, like in an open Jeep.
Hmm.
I don't know about, I don't know about,
I
I
would
like,
look at that, but that's so expensive. Not only you got to fork out like 50K for the hunt, right? But then the import fees for these animals that you're bringing back is more than the hunt. So you got to be loaded up the ass to go on one of these.
ah,
Mhm.
I didn't even think about that, what they would charge you to ship it back.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
The
shit.
all those fees. I think John was talking about somebody who was bringing in like a zebra or something, and it was like 70K just to bring the zebra back into the U.S.
Yeah, you got to have fuck you money at that point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elon
Well,
Musk.
he's probably got his own fucking zoo, that dude, or could
Probably.
afford it. But what's the biggest gun you got?
Uh, the biggest gun that we have here is a bolt action 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a Curtis Customs action, and I think with the optic and everything, wasn't too expensive for a precision rifle. I think it's about $8,000 or $9,000, and I think it's probably close to 30 pounds.
Holy man. So for the people that don't understand guns, can you give a comparison? How big so what is that, a shell or a round? What do you consider you put in that?
The round.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the easiest comparison would be like if you shoot a piece of cardboard with like a 223, like this rifle here.
Uh-huh.
The hole that it's going to make is smaller than a pencil,
Okay.
regardless of what most people say. And sorry, I got animals running around. And a
That's
6.5
awesome.
Creedmoor is probably going to be maybe the diameter of a Sharpie pen, but 6.5 Creedmoor, it's kind of just like a laser beam. Like John shot that rifle out to a mile, I think.
And then of course the velocity of that is where a lot of the damage would come from, right?
Yeah, and as far as all the precision rifle stuff, we'll reload our own stuff here. We don't buy anything.
Oh, that's cool. On all your weapons, you reload everything.
Not everything. No, we don't.
Okay.
We'll reload 9mm sometimes because that's pretty inexpensive and it's easy to do. But as far as like 223 or 5.56 go, or shotgun shells, we typically won't reload those. We'll buy those. But like the precision stuff, like for 6.5 Creedmoor or 308 or the 300 blackout that we used to go hunting with.
You reload.
Mhm.
My favorite. Well, I told you I had that 12 gauge riot gun, and I had that in my apartment on B Street because it was a questionable neighborhood.
Yes.
And the first round was rock salt. The second round was a safety slug because apartment building, and then the third round was the dragon's breath. So
Just
I
burn
figured
down the whole place.
just fuck it, dude. If I don't get you in the first two, everybody's going. Fuck it. So, but yeah, there was a couple times people come pounding at my door. It was not. I was living a different lifestyle back then. But you said Indiana, yeah.
Yes.
You can carry there.
Yeah, it's actually constitutional carry. I believe they passed it last year or the year before. So you don't need a permit as long as you can purchase a firearm legally. You don't need a permit. But then again, Indiana also has what people like to call the gun show loophole. So if we're two people living in Indiana, I could sell you a gun without a background check.
If
Like
you're
just
two, if I lived in Indiana and you live in Indiana, we could sell guns back and forth to each other
without proof of purchase or anything.
Okay. And then handguns you can conceal and carry openly?
Yeah, you can conceal carry and you can open carry in Indiana. It doesn't really matter. Most people opt to conceal carry because if you open carry, you're kind of like you just got eyes on you all the time.
Sure. And that's why I asked that, because of your videos that I was watching. You know, you're showing how stuff was being concealed, and I like your passion of knives too, by the way.
Oh yeah, Microtech. I have so many of them. They're just laying all over the house at this point. You just any surface you go to, there's a Microtech sitting around.
No, so you know the old Gerbers that they would issue you in the military, the flip blade.
Mm-hmm.
At Copperhead Road, I had a guy pull one on me at the door, and I took it from him, and that was back 99, 2000, and this spring it broke. It finally, I've been carrying it since then. So I
How
had
do you even pull a Gerber on somebody? That doesn't make any sense.
What's that?
The Gerber, like the multi-tool, is that what you're talking about?
No.
The actual knife.
The actual knife. It was just, standard flip blade, had the glass break on the side, just a standard.
I was going to say, it's going to take a while for someone to pull a multi-tool on you.
Yeah, right. Do you want pliers, or do you want the blade? Do you want the little scissors? Yeah, the can opener. But yeah, that thing lasted me almost over 20 years, and I beat the hell out of my knives, and I got emotional when that thing broke. It was insane how that affected me emotionally when that broke. So I know how it feels with your knives. That was fun just watching you, like, demonstrating the concealment of weapons, And
yeah.
Do you think that deters people with crime, knowing that there's a conceal?
I think so. Well, you look at, so whenever they're talking about like gun statistics and things like that, and murder in America, guns are political, no matter how much you want to look at it.
We can talk about guns, though. I like guns.
But so now when they talk about statistics in America, they're also including like defense kills as well. So if somebody walks up on you, they're attacking you, you kill them. They're counting that as a murder rather than a self-defense related issue. But so if somebody was walking up to you and they could see that you have a gun on you and their plan was to rob you, they're probably going to walk away at that point. Right. But the matter of the fact is, most interactions happen within 3 feet or less. And that's what I always taught people when I was instructing. So you don't really always have time to pull your gun. And if you don't train, you don't know how to properly conceal it, or you throw it in your purse, you might as well not even have it.
Yeah, that's what when girls and ladies would be, look what I have on my keys. They're like little brass knuckles. I'm like, that thing ain't worth it. You might as well just throw that in the garbage. That's a false sense of security. Same type of thing. Even a knife, though, if you don't train or you're not comfortable with a knife, it's not doing you any good.
Yeah. I mean, well, and a lot of people, they have the flip open blades that aren't spring loaded. So again, what do you have? A rock. So if you do have a knife, it should be spring loaded. And you need to practice with it. And they even have self-deploying knives. You put it in your pocket a certain way, and when you take it out, it'll swing out. So yeah, a lot of people don't realize once you get a gun, you need training behind that gun every single day. Yeah.
No, and the whole thing of where's it? I heard it. Was it today? A guy made a comparison. because the whole thing with guns nowadays and all the shootings and the, that type of thing that people talk about.
Mhm.
And when I was growing up, my dad put a spoon and a handgun on the table, and he goes, "These are both extremely dangerous weapons." He
Yeah.
goes, "But the spoon itself, that could sit here and decay for a million years. It's the people that operate it." And
Yeah.
that's how I was taught with safety with a gun.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's the person behind the gun. It's not the gun itself. I mean, when the Second Amendment was written, they didn't include, all the firearms that existed at the time. They didn't include any future firearms that could possibly exist because it didn't matter. It was your right to protect yourself. And, as long as you safely own the firearm and you train with it, then you should be allowed to keep it. And yeah, this water bottle is not going to do anything here. If I pick it up and drink it, then sure. But it's always the person. And mental
Absolutely.
illness is a huge issue in the United States, and that needs to be looked at a little bit more closely.
Yeah, I think it's the mental part, not the gun part. And I believe that the whole world, everybody should be able to carry a damn gun. That's just my belief, because if I know you got a gun, I ain't going to do nothing to you.
Exactly.
And then my thought on the schools real quick. I know that's just this is what I heard. A guy goes, "We have an armed security guard outside a clothing store, outside a jewelry store." He goes, "It doesn't make sense. Why don't we have an armed security guard here?" And I was like, wow, when you put it that way, and I have a 2-year-old son, and I can't even fathom something happened to him. I don't even know what I would do at that point. I'd fucking lose my mind. But yeah, so, I'll teach him gun safety just like I was taught. And my wife, we had it in our apartment. I have a small arsenal, and we have it in the apartment and for 5 years. And all of a sudden she asked about them. And I was like, "They've been here for 5 years. Now you're worried about them?" So I took them all out and educated her and showed her. And she's like, "Oh, okay, I understand." She got a better grip of it once you do a little education. And she came to the same conclusion that we just talked about. It's the person behind it, person behind a wheel, driving a car, person behind a rake, a shovel. What the hell difference does it make? About
drunk driver kills somebody. We don't ban cars. I mean,
right.
Gun laws are only going to affect law-abiding citizens. The bad guy is still going to get a gun no matter what.
No matter what. They still do, because I was in martial arts for almost 11 years. And when we were teaching people, we would say, the bad guy, you see how you're trying to learn self-defense? The bad guy is doing twice as much trying to learn how to rob you.
Yep.
And I had an awesome conversation with some nice young lady, and she's like, "I just don't understand why they would do that." And I said, "Well, have you ever worried about where dinner is? Have you ever worried about putting $10 worth of gas in your car to make it to work?" And she's like, "No." And I go, "That's why you don't understand."
Yep.
I said, desperation causes a lot of things to happen.
Yeah, and it can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. United States, Austria, Canada. It doesn't matter where you live. There's desperate people anywhere, or people who are willing to commit crimes and willing to do whatever it takes to do those crimes. I mean, like I used to work for this range. I was the training manager there, and I won't say the name of the range, but it was a chain of ranges on the East Coast, and they are awful. But I would get people in all the time. They're like, "Well, I just don't think I need a gun. We live in a safe neighborhood." I was like, "Okay, well, there's a grocery store right next to the range. You know that grocery store?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we go there all the time." I was like, "Okay, well, last week, a man tried to snatch a 3-year-old little girl out of a woman's arms. at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. And like
Right.
cops were on that place within minutes, but it happened. And people were like, oh, well, I didn't know that happened. Anything can happen anywhere.
Yep. Yep. You see these videos of people when they pull up. I try to educate my wife at the same time. Just be aware of your surroundings. When you go to your car in the parking lot, make sure nobody's parked really close to you, especially a van or a truck. I said, and anytime you feel uncomfortable, what's that?
Don't be buried in your phone while you're walking to your car.
That's exactly right. And then if you feel uncomfortable, just go back in and call somebody. Call me, depending on, situation. And just that's it. And I think that when we would teach too, is if you seem like you're walking with a purpose or like with a command presence, most of the time people ain't going to fuck with you.
Yep. Make sure you have RBF.
What's that?
Make sure you got RBF.
Yep. People, that's it. Like you said, they're looking at their phone and they're digging through their purse. They'll walk up to their car, put their purse on the hood, start digging through their purse for something. Holy dude, you're just inviting somebody to do something to you.
Yeah, something else that people like to do is, and I've caught myself doing it before. Walking up to your car, you're unlocking it, you're pressing it, 15 times to unlock it. It unlocks all the doors. Press it once, it only unlocks the driver door. So Yep. I've heard people complain about that. And I've also heard people complain, like you do something with your credit card and the bank freezes it for a second, right? So you got a text or call they're like, oh my God, this is so inconvenient. Well, it's for your protection. Would you rather not have any money? Like,
yeah. And that's the thing. They're like, oh, it's just convenient for me to unlock everything. Okay. So then somebody can scoot in the back door or in the side door. I had a guy come to martial arts, the school I was at teaching. And he said that in Colorado Springs, I got to tell you too, I got held up on the streets of Colorado Springs. I'll tell you that one. But he said, yeah, my wife and I got money. You know how they have an ATM like on the street in the side of the building, right? So on the sidewalk. Got money out of it. They got in the car. Two guys held the doors open, and his wife was in the passenger seat, and they grabbed her breast and were twisting it. And they said, man, if you don't give us all that money you just took, we're going to hurt your wife. And at that point, what do? Right? You give them the money and they beat him up a little bit. And he's like, I want to learn self-defense. I go, against that, it's going to take many years, dude. Just being straight up honest with you. What you're not going to take 4 classes and be able to handle that situation. And he's like, well, I appreciate your honesty. I'm like, I don't want you sitting, I don't want you to get a false security as well,
Yeah.
But no, right on Tejon Street, walking with a girlfriend, got some money out of the ATM, and a guy comes up, asks me for a light, and I said, I don't have a light. And he flips open a blade, and he's like, give me all your money. I was like, fuck you. I go, come and get it. And I backed up, and he goes, what? No, give me all your, and he's got his arm straight out with the blade. And I'm like, you're a clown, dude. And we turned around, started walking away. And the girl I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, he's a fucking, get the fuck out of here.
I heard somebody say once, if someone's trying to mug you, just start taking off your clothes and they're probably going to leave.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Oh my God. What's a favorite comedian of mine? You ever hear of Rodney Carrington?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that dude. He's like, somebody wants to fight you, just take all your clothes off because nobody wants to fight a naked guy. And I was like, well, that's a good point. Now in your bio, you're a instructor. You do a lot now. Do you do that? Like, is that your main gig?
No. So my main thing is electrical fabrication. So in the military, I was a tank mechanic, and then I just kind of continued on that track after I got out of the military. It's building trucks for BNSF, Railroad, Union Pacific. And when I was there, I was their hydraulic specialist, and then I started doing electrical work for them, and I was pretty good at it. So then I started building electrical panels, and that's kind of more so the thing I'm doing at the moment. It's been a little bit since I instructed, because when I was working for the range that shall not be named, I had to sign a non-compete, and it goes for 2 years after I quit. They were just awful. But yeah, I can't teach within 25 miles of any of their locations, and my home is 23 miles away.
Get the fuck. Seriously?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
they're brutal with it too. They're always checking like my LinkedIn profile. I get a notification at least once a week. They're checking up on me, make sure I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be. But you know, if I'm out of state or something out and somebody needs help, I'll teach them. Or I have some people that inquire with me, and you know, I can go to them and teach them. My primary focus is handguns, but occasionally people will ask about shotguns and rifles.
So with handguns, you mess around with knives too? You teach people knife safety and all that? You get into that at all?
I've never had anybody request it. I at least not in person. I've had people, you know, ask questions online on Instagram, things like that. But that's just about it.
Now, what made you start doing videos like that where first of all, people listening, link is in the show notes. You got to check out these videos. But what made you like start wanting to do those? Was there like a business thing behind that, or just fun?
I mean, I guess it's more like fun because I've never made any money off of my social media, like my Instagram, YouTube. I don't make any money off of it.
Right here too.
Any commissions that I make, they go straight to Mission 22. It's not a lot of commission, but they go straight to Mission 22. Anybody I work with, I just tell them just send it straight to Mission 22. Don't even give it.
Is that the 22 suicides a day type thing?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit for veterans, and they've actually helped me in the past. But it's a great organization. But as far as like the concealed carry goes and demonstrating, it was primarily to show women that you can in fact carry. You can carry, and it was to show women that you shouldn't carry in your purse. You should carry on your person, and it was to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And you know, yes, you can carry in a dress, you can carry in Daisy Dukes, you can carry while wearing a tank top. There's just certain ways to do it.
That's awesome. I like that. I like the hey, look, this is how you can do it. Don't leave it in your purse. Don't leave it in the glove box. And you can do that and be comfortable at the same time, right? I did a lot. I still involved with it, but very little at this time. But for many years, it was called Play for Your Freedom. It's out here in New Jersey, upstate New York as well. And what we do is get vets out of the hospital to play football and softball and physical activity and volleyball, basketball. And I did that for many years. And when I was in Colorado Springs, I did the Wounded Warrior.
Okay.
Were you aware that at the Olympic Center, the training center?
Yep.
Every year they would do the Wounded Warrior project and have like Olympics for the Wounded Warriors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I had like Coke, I had 6 weeks of vacation. That was just one of those things. And I wouldn't tell anybody. I would take the full week off and I would be there the whole week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was an incredible experience. And when I moved out to New Jersey, I tried to find some people I could do the same thing with, and it was just a lot of shady things, man. It's disappointing to find that. And I got hooked up with this guy, and it's Play for Your Freedom, and been having a good time with that. And we did a lot with the 22 as well. We got jerseys made, and we did a bunch of challenges and stuff to raise money. And so I'm very familiar with that.
Nice.
Yeah, good for you, man. Yeah, that's a great organization.
Yeah, we're my fiance and I and a couple other vets from all over the country. We're on the Mission 22 shooting team, so we're a part of the Mission 22 organization. And we have the Mission 22 jerseys, and our main sponsor is Air Precision. they designed that rifle for us. Everyone on the team has one. And every year we host a 3-gun match, a major. They're called majors. And we host it in Illinois. We're not sure if we're going to be able to pull it off this year or not because of the ban that they have in place right now. But typically we raise anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 for that one event, and then a couple of us go to other events throughout the year to help just raise awareness. The goal is somebody sees that 22 on the jersey and they're like, what is that? That's our goal. We want people to ask, and we want to explain it to them, and helping get veterans just out of the house, because that's the big issue. Vets just stay in their house, they stew in their thoughts, and that's when trouble happens.
Yeah, that's the whole idea behind Play for Your Freedom. We get them out there, quote unquote touch football. Mm-hmm. But we'd get old Super Bowl and football guys like Gary Brown and Odessa Turner, and those guys were real big into it. Great guys. And that's the thing. Just physical movement, man. Physical movement. And you just feel better about everything. Just physical movement. And I feel that had a lot of impact. I put a lot of heart into it, but then I kind of, with my son and the house, time. So time. But what's big plans for you coming up? Anything big and exciting?
Well, the NRA convention is tomorrow in Indianapolis. So I'm going to go down there. I'm going to hang out tomorrow and Saturday. And then from Indianapolis, I'm going to drive straight to Bayless, Illinois to go turkey hunting for about a week. And hopefully I get a turkey this year. This is my 3rd year in Illinois turkey hunting, and I haven't gotten a turkey yet. So 3rd time's a charm. And then after that, I'm getting married later this year.
Woo!
So exciting.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's about time. It's about time.
My man. How long you guys been together?
So we went on our first date back in 2011, and we're young in the military, and things never really connected. And then we kind of went off, life happened, and then we reconnected around 2018. And I was living in Japan in 2017, and I moved back to the United States, and then we're like, should we move in together? Sure.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, whoa. What the hell are you doing in Japan?
I worked for the Air Force as a civilian in Japan.
How long did you do that for?
About 1.5 years. No. What? Yeah. Well, it was right after I got out of the military, so it was about 1.5 years.
Did you like it over there?
Oh, yeah. It was great. I loved it. I love the food. I grew up in Hawaii, so the food is very similar. I was down in Okinawa, though. Tons of Marines. That wasn't very fun. Yeah. But it's the heat is unbelievable. 120 with 90% humidity. It's awful.
Oh man, I didn't know that. In Japan, the
heat is unreal.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's something I never heard. Now, if I look at it, it makes sense.
The dry heat's fine, but you mix in the humidity, and it is the worst.
So speaking of dry heat, years ago we were in Vegas, me and my buddy, and we were having a good time. So substances were involved, of all sorts. And it was 1:30 in the morning, and it was 112 degrees. It was crazy. So we get in this cab, and we're like, oh my God, it's dude, 112 degrees. And the cabbie goes, well, it's a dry heat. And my buddy goes, well, so is a convection oven. I wouldn't want to fucking be in that either. So when somebody says a dry heat, I think of that story.
I promise. Man, it's so much better.
Oh, no, I agree with you. The dry heat is so much Colorado.
Yes.
The best kept secret, it's the fucking weather.
Yep.
People have no idea. It's people are like, why is it so nice? I go, it's a desert. Mm-hmm. It's a desert at 7,000 feet. And they're like, well, we thought it was all snow. And I go, now, if you go over the range, you get buried in snow. Yep. But yeah, I do. but I never would have thought of Japan. Wow. Anyway, so then what? Your contract was up. You came back to the United States.
Well, I wasn't under contract.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit different for civilians in working for the government. You're essentially allowed to leave whenever you want, pretty much. But yeah, I was actually working as the outdoor rent guide. So I was taking people on. I got to do all the fun stuff. I got to take people to climb Mount Fuji. I got to take people kayaking in Japan, like all kinds of stuff. It was fun.
That's awesome. That's a good side of Japan to see. Is it packed with people, like crowded?
It depends on where you go. Okinawa, not so much. It's this little tiny island south of mainland Japan. Super chill island vibe, pretty much. But you go to Tokyo, which is an hour and a half flight, and you're walking through, Shibuya or something. It can be shoulder to shoulder.
Or the old military term, butt to nut, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. We're in Hawaii.
That's subways.
What's that? The subway?
The subway in Japan. Yeah, it's like sardines in there.
I'm not. No. That's a cultural thing where they're okay with you being in their space, right? I'm not. We're in Hawaii.
I lived on Maui for about 15 years.
I spent so much time in Maui.
Oh, really?
I was married to a lady, and we would go every January for 2 weeks for 7 years in a row.
Did you ever go to the Paia fish market? Mm-hmm. My mom worked there. Yeah, almost the entire time we lived there, she worked there. She was the main waitress at the register.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. And then, because that's over North Shore, am I right? Or not too far?
It would be northern Maui.
Yeah, because
northeastern, kind of.
Because I think in one day we went there for lunch, and then we ended up at the North Shore to, all the surfers and all that. Mm-hmm. So that would make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how about the trail to
Hana or Shukla?
What's that? The road to Hana.
The road to Hana.
What a joke!
You didn't like it?
Were you a fan?
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever. It was kind of fun. I mean, growing up, we'd be out there. My mom, I shouldn't say this. We may or may not have thrown like rotting guavas at the tourist cars as they drove by.
Amazing.
But,
amazing.
The tourists driving 5 miles an hour in their convertible, like terrified.
And then what's the pigs, right? The pig heads on the side of the road?
The wild boars, yeah.
Wild boars, yeah.
Those guys they'll fuck you up. I saw that people hunt with dogs out in Maui. I mean, you can hunt with rifles too, actually, or bows, but people use dogs, and their dogs just get sliced up.
Oh, boars are. That's a whole weird breed, man. They're aggressive, like whoo. Mm-hmm. But the road to Hana, man, you just back and forth. Then you get behind a slow truck, and then we got to the top, and they're like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "What are we looking at?" It was a little anticlimactic for me, but anyway, I always ask about road to Hana, but Maui's just amazing. I just thought that, I mean, it's paradise, right?
It's a little expensive, but yeah, it's beautiful.
And did you like living there?
I did, but I lived there as a child, and I want to say for the majority of when I lived there, we were homeless. So we lived in the homeless shelter, or we'd go camping out on the beach. Eventually we did get a home and stuff like that. But it was fun, but all I ever knew was ocean, swimming, or running around in the jungle. So, it was fun. It was a good way to grow up without internet.
Sure. Then the lava fields on the other side. Mm-hmm. I thought those were pretty cool. It's like you're like on another planet.
Yeah, it's crazy to see like the different. I don't know what you call them, environments on Maui. Like you go from jungle to desert with cactus to lava fields. Like you got everything there.
Yeah. You spend much time at Big Beach?
No,
No,
I know what you're talking about.
you
No,
didn't. You didn't go camping at Big Beach. I get that was a favorite destination of ours because it was just beach and the waves were huge, and we had a good time with it. But
the waves were. That was your favorite part about it.
well, it's just real beautiful, and then I like the water and just the whole setting of it was cool.
So you got Big Beach. Big Beach. I've been to Big Beach a few times, but and then you do like a little quick little hike over some rocks. Then you got a little beach over there, the nudist
Yep.
beach.
The nudist, yeah, and the nudist beach does it. It's not what you think it would be.
A lot of elderly.
Yeah, a lot of wrinkles. Yeah, a lot of wrinkles. No, that's a lot of fun. That find out that we spent a lot of time in the same places. Not just passing through. Colorado Springs I had a lot of fun there, man. It was a great place. I actually went there I don't know if I consider losing, but I grew up in upstate New York in farm country and moved Oneida.
Okay.
Do you know any upstate New York towns?
Yes. Well, a lot of my family is in upstate New York. They're in Malone, New York. It's like 20 minutes from the Canadian border. I guess everything up there is 20 minutes from the Canadian border, but they're up there.
Yeah, we weren't too far from Syracuse.
Okay. Yeah, so she's about an hour from Syracuse.
Okay. And about a 40-minute hike from where my home, where I grew up. There's a plaque in the dirt that's a geographical center of the state.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we were just hiking around, as kids, you're just wandering around the woods and we're hiking around. And this is before we got dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff. And we're like, what's this? Big plaque in the middle. So when I tell people I'm from central New York.
You literally are.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, when I was 20, I kind of lost a bet and ended up in Colorado Springs. Threw a backpack in a pickup truck and drove out. My dad's like, you don't even need a map. Just get on Route 80 and go until you hit Colorado Springs. I was like, okay.
Pretty much.
A couple of days later, I was working for Coca-Cola and put 18 years in with those guys. And then did a lot of security stuff on the side, bouncing. But then I got involved in a private security firm as well. Did a lot of personal bodyguard stuff. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were in Springs?
I went to visit. God, I want to say 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty. I went, you mentioned the Olympic Center. I actually went last summer to the Olympic Training Center for a competition. And it was an air pistol competition, actually. But it was just in the few years I had been gone, it's really gone downhill. Well, I want to say downhill. It's gotten very, very, very crunchy. I'll say that. Lots of homeless people. It's so sad to see how many homeless people there are. The encampments are massive. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. My best friend is a CPA in a firm over there up at Southgate. Their office is up at Southgate, and he's semi-retired now, and he's got a place on Vickers, but he bought had a house built in Florida. And he said it's nothing like when I was there. It's just incredible, different. But I mean, things do change. I think the marijuana business had quite a bit to do with that. I did see a drastic, quick change because I was there when it came legal. Mm-hmm. And yeah, a lot of things accelerated at that point, especially the homeless. Speaking of Hawaii and homeless, I went to Pearl Harbor one time, flew over from Maui, me and a buddy. We land. The homeless was unfucking believable.
Yeah. It's so expensive to live there. Like, I mean, if you're paying $10 for a gallon of milk and your rent's $2,400, but you're getting paid $10 an hour, that's not really viable,
Yeah, I went to upstate New York public school, and I can do that math. So, but it was the thing that's the first time I saw it. I've seen it since, but this was years and years ago. Like a highway ramp as it goes up to, they had it all covered on both sides till it got to a certain height. Then they capped it off, and they had doors in it, and it's like a complex under there. And it was incredible. I'm like, ingenuity and desperation, a lot of things come out of that. But then we go to like Buffalo Wild Wings or something, to get something to eat. And when we came out, we physically had to step over the railing into the driveway and walk down the middle of the street because the lawn and the sidewalk was covered with homeless people.
Yeah. I haven't been there. I took some emergency leave, I think back in 2010 to go visit my mom. And that was the last time I was there. And it'll probably continue to be the last time I was there.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I tell you what, though, Pearl Harbor, man, if that shit don't move you, man, you don't have a soul.
When I first moved to Japan, they have like an in-processing for people. And, there's certain things you got to go do, look a little checklist. And one of them was optional, but it was like a week-long class, like Japanese class, culture, etiquette, a little bit of the language, things like that. And one of them was a tour on a Japanese military installation. Okay, I'll go. And man, it was the most awkward thing I've ever experienced because we walk in and there's this huge map. They got one, it's like a 4D map. They have one of Pearl Harbor and then they have one of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they explained to us how they lost the war. And that was pretty rough. But I mean,
yeah, well, it's history, right?
Just can't be attacking people without repercussions.
Yeah, I was just going to say, hey, man, you can't just go up, slap somebody and don't expect for them to slap you back. But yeah, Pearl Harbor was crazy. And then it's a little off, but in Beijing, I had a gentleman on not too long ago. The episode's out. He spent 14 days in a Beijing prison for having drugs. And that experience, dude.
They don't mess around in Asian prisons. In Japan, they don't mess. In Japan, you can't even, like, if you're in your cell, you can't sit on your bed. You can't use your table. You can't lean on the wall. Like, you can't lay down. Nothing.
Nope. And the lights are on 24/7. You never leave your cell. They bring meals to you, and they poured it. This guy was like, they poured it soup, quote unquote, into a bucket through the bars into another bucket, and then the cell captain would assign people to distribute it. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, and you can't sit during the day. You can't lay on your bed. Yeah, crazy. And there was 12 bunks for 15 people. I don't know how. Yeah. Two people would have to stay up all night and quote unquote watch. So 2 people every night had to stay up, but then they had to stay up during the day too, because you can't sleep during the day. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good. Thanks. But Sarah, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you for being my first podcast.
Yeah. I'm going to stop the recording, but hang on. Okay. We'll talk after. Thanks. God damn, that was a great time with Sarah. I would love to have her back on, so look out for that. You want to get a hold of her, I bet you she would love to speak with you. Link is in the show notes. All right, I'm going to get you out of here because I know you got shit to do. But you want to get a hold of me, Instagram's the best way, B-Raw Podcast. And, of course, everything you need to know about the show, BRawPodcast.com. Don't forget to spread the word. Also, I grow this organically, so all the help you could get would be much appreciated. And the crew over at Live Rishi and Craig and the crew over at High Speed Daddy would love to hear from you as well. Give him shit while you're over there for me. All right, man, I am hailing you from one of the smallest states in the United States, but we have 5 different climates, and that's good old New Jersey. Don't forget, don't act cool, be cool. Till next time.